everybody. Welcome to Investing Bros. How is everybody doing this morning? We got a lot to break down because we got some news breaking over the last couple of days in the crypto world that could mean that this next bull market is going to be absolutely crazy, absolutely insane. Of course, you guys know about the ETFs. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. We're now predicting, there's people saying 75% sure we're going to get an ETF launched before the end of 2023. But also recently we've had a lawsuit come to an end involving Uniswap, and the details could be really, really big for altcoins out there and getting some explosive returns. So make sure you stick around. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. We're going to break down the charts, we're going to break down the news, and we're going to engage with you guys. Thank you so much for being here and choosing Investing Bros this morning. Go ahead and smash that like button, and if you are new here, subscribe to the channel for everything you need to know about crypto so you can be investing for yourself wisely. With that said, I'm joined by my co-host this morning, Mr. T-Shroom, survivor of hurricanes from Gainesville, Florida. How you doing, T-Shroom?
Better than I deserved, Tim. I should have gotten washed up in that hurricane. I should have been spun up into the sky and then flown into the Atlantic for all of my bad deeds. But here I am, better than I deserve. And I do have a quote of the day, and it is from everybody's favorite president, George Washington. He said, "Be not glad at the misfortune of another, though he may be your enemy." That is from your boy, Georgie Dub. So it's always good to hear from the first president of these United States.
Maybe the best president. You know, with the way presidents go, you know, it's can't make a statement about every single one of them. And you know, I'll be honest, I don't know every single detail of all of them, but George Washington, he was a good one.
Wait, you're saying you don't know every detail of every president? That's a surprise.
I don't make a habit of. There are kids. I feel like there are people out there, T-Shirt. I've seen it online where I've seen these kids who know like every detail about every single president. They're only 4 years old, and it's their great thing that they do. I don't even understand it, but that's not me. I don't know those factoids, but I will say what I do know is he's like the only president who literally everybody in the entire country agreed that's the man that should be president. They even wanted to make him king. So that's how good of a man he is. But we're not here to talk about George Washington or presidents, even though that does come up from time to time in conversation. We are here to talk crypto. But first, we do have to engage with you guys here in chat. Love getting to spend time with you guys every morning. Let's read some names here. A Mellow Fellow was the first commenter of the day. So again, he went on a little path there. He had a little season of time where he wasn't up there in the top, but he's a medalist daily now, usually gold. Congratulations, Mellow Fellow. Mike Vollmer coming in second place with the silver. And wrapping up the podium this morning, we got Ada Ace in here saying good morning. Shout out to all three of you for being here. Yair Navarro is also here. Steve B is here. Ninja Glock. Maybe a Band-Aid is here. Crypto Alchemist. Who else do we have? Mike Lowry with the blue wrench is here. Let's see who else. Philly Skills 1428. Good to see you here this morning. It's me, a Crypto Mario is here as well. Off Grid Anarchy is here. Good to see you. Who else? We got a couple more names when we get into our content this morning. Mr. J is here. And Mike Play, Luigi Fibonacci saying good morning, America. Arson246, Gia S with the blue wrench. And let's get three more T-shirts and we'll go and call it a day. Stephen E. Shrum is here. Eric Wallen is here. You always love seeing Eric Wallen.
You got to.
And the last one I'm going to read, the final name, French Toaster is here. To everybody else, because I know there's a lot of other people here, just because I did not read your name does not mean I don't love you. It's just time to go ahead and get on into the content. Before I do, T-Shirt, because we're going to start with our economic outlook, anything you have for us? Is the fact of the day before TA now? When is the fact of the day coming in? Do we have a fact of the day?
We have a fact of the day. It's getting cooked up right now by the little factoid elves, and we will be releasing that factoid just before the crypto TA.
Okay. Well, let's do it then. Let's go ahead and go to my screen here. I shared it right now because I had to refresh. Oh, rookie move, Tim. Rookie move.
Oh, Tim.
Over here. Oh, Tim.
Tim.
You never know with Tim. All right. So coming out this morning, guys, we did get core PCE price index coming at 2%, exactly what we were at last month and also exactly what we were expecting. But when it comes to personal income, it's at 0.2%, previously at 0.3, and the consensus was it would be at 0.3. So that's coming in here just a little bit lower. When it comes to personal spending month over month, last month was 0.5%. We were expecting 0.7. Well, that's a consensus 0.7, but forecast 0.4. We went 0.8, outdid all of them. So people are making less money, but spending more money. Wow. That's not good, guys. That's not good. Let's see what else is happening this week. Friday, we have non-farm payrolls coming out tomorrow. Here in the U.S., unemployment rate will be coming out. The ISM manufacturing as well will be coming out. So stay tuned tomorrow. We will cover those in tomorrow's show. Let's keep moving on here to refresh this page. We're looking at Bitcoin liquidations, crypto liquidations. Let's go to 24 hours here. Bitcoin with a bunch of long liquidations here, 11.8 million. Of course, that's a very small percentage of the total, but that is how many liquidations are happening in the longs. Price a little bit volatile this morning. There was a spike up. We're going to take a look at the charts here in just a second. But Ethereum also with more longs liquidated at 4.5 million longs liquidated. Then in third place, we got others and cyber and a bunch of other good stuff. Let's take a look at Trueflation this morning. Let's get a refresh just to make sure. 2.71% coming in pretty much exactly where we were yesterday. So no big update to Trueflation. Keep moving on as we can speed through our economic outlook for the day. Looking at the CME futures, 88.5% now are saying that we are going to get a pause in September. And remember, this is important because this last week, we've kind of been bouncing back and forth. Are we going to have another rate hike? Are we going to stay paused? A couple of days ago, we were predicting November would see a rate hike. So now that's back in the camp of saying 55% saying we're going to go ahead and pause in November. We're going to stay paused in December, according to 54%. And then January pause, March pause, and then let's see. Is May where we get our first cut? It does look like May is the prediction for the first rate cut, according to the CME group, predicting what the Fed will do. Let's keep moving on here. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index ticking up again, despite the fact that price really isn't doing anything crazy. We're now up above 50 once again, 52. It's in the middle. We're in a neutral zone, but I'm putting this, especially based off what we've seen in price action with the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, I'm putting this in more of a bearish category. I do think this is more of a sign that I do think we will be dropping. I've been predicting that for a little while, that we would get this pump up, that we would have some news that would make everyone feel super bullish, and then something would happen and price would dip. And Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, I think, is kind of helping to tell that story. But we'll continue to monitor that every single day. Let's move over to our CoinMarketCap Open. Take a look at what is happening over here. You're not going to see a lot of big movements here over the last 24 hours in the top 20 coins. A lot of red, but they're not significant. Bitcoin less than 1% down, Ethereum less than 1% down, BNB 0.5% down, XRP the biggest loser so far, down 1%. Polkadot, there we go. They take the cake right there, down 2.3%. Toncoin down 2.6%. Oh, there we go. Solana down 3.22%. So there's a couple movers here. Bitcoin Cash up over 1%. So they're continuing to have some bullish momentum here. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers, biggest losers of the day. We do have Maker up 9%. IOTA or MIOTA, whichever one you're going to call it. It's very rare to see a ticker be longer than the name of the coin. So that's very interesting, guys. But it is up 5%, just ticked down below 5%. DYDX is also up 3%. Let's take a look at the biggest losers of the day. Astar, once again, is in that loser spot, down 5%, down 16% on the week. GMX is down 5%. XDC down 5%. We already talked about Solana down 3%. Pepe almost down 3%. So there are our biggest losers, biggest gainers, guys. We're about to transition into our technical analysis. But first, let's go to BroCam with T-Shroom. We'll check in with chat and also get that fact of the day question that you don't get the answer to until later on in the show. But what do you got for us this morning, T-Shroom?
All right, guys. The fact of the day is the elves have just brought it to me, and we are going to go ahead and put it on the screen. Yeah, just put it on. Okay, here it is. It is... Which top 30 crypto does not use a blockchain for its network? Is it DYDX, DOT, HBAR, or eGold? All right.
Oh, man. That's actually really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of those I know I could eliminate, but there's like, pull it back up. What are the options again?
Oh, you'd like to see the options for the factoid of the day?
Yeah. You get the elf to tell the elf to put it back. All right, here we go. DOT is a blockchain. HBAR's, I'm between eGold and DYDX, and I'm gonna say DYDX, but I don't know. That's
All
a good
right.
one.
Let us
Thank you
know
for
in the
that.
chat.
Well,
Let
guys,
us
we have
know in the chat.
200 people watching right now. Thank you to everyone who is here. Go ahead and smash the like button and hit subscribe. We're about to jump into the charts. And we did have movement recently, but now we're kind of coming back down. Let's kind of break down what's happening there. Go ahead and go to my screen here, T-Shroom. You guys know our charts are brought to you guys by Chart Prime. They're the best indicator in the game, guys. If you're trying to trade, you want to make some money, Chart Prime has phenomenal indicators. You're going to always see us use them on this channel. Come every day. You get a great TA. You guys can look at it and make your own opinions. But again, if you want to do some stuff on your own and coins you want to see done, you definitely can get this indicator with our link down below. 45% off your first month or first quarter. You're not going to get a better deal anywhere else.
45.
So 45.
Dang.
T-shirt. 45. It's the best deal. It's the best deal in the market, and they chose Investing Bros to do that. So go ahead and support the channel, support yourself. Go get Chart Prime today. Let's take a look at what is happening here with Bitcoin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go out to the 4-hour chart. We're going to start there and kind of work our way around. Now, for anyone who's new here, because I know we definitely probably have a lot of people in here who don't watch every single day. So glad to have you in here in the Investing Bros community. We have been watching here on Bitcoin the price action after falling back on the 17th of August after a rising level of support and setting another flat level support at 28.6. We have been discussing the possibility of a revisit to 28.6 or 28.4. Somewhere in that region to revisit as resistance. And again, while we technically haven't hit it, we are seeing signs that might be coming here very, very soon. Coming into the 4-hour chart, let's pull up our oscillators here. Let me zoom in and kind of clean up the chart so you guys can see a little bit more what's going on here. We did come up over here and we peaked out at 28,184. We got some nice reversal flashes from the overbought red reversal. We have our MVP oscillator kind of curling over. RSI from Chart Prime got up above 93. So a lot of reasons to come back down. But remember, we discussed this yesterday. When you see the oscillators pulling back like this pretty significantly, and they're not necessarily doing it at a rapid pace, but what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a reaction. I think that we're going to see some support come in. I'm going to take a look at the 1-hour chart here in just a second, but you're seeing the price action kind of flatten out here, even though the oscillators kept dropping. I got to remove my marker for just a second so I can fix this screen. You guys can see, even though the oscillators still are moving to the downside, price action does seem to be curling over. And I think we're going to see the price action move and come higher than these levels. Again, I'm looking 28.4, 28.6, somewhere in this range. Watch the oscillators maybe not get as high. Watch the RSI maybe not get as high. And we set up our bearish divergence that actually ends up flipping us to the downside. Be prepared, though, guys. In the same way, we had some boring price action and not a lot happening during this sideways movement. We talked about the rally coming in. We just needed a spark. Well, Grayscale ETF lawsuit coming to a close. That was the spark that triggered it. Same thing's going to happen here. I'm going to expect some more bullish narratives, bullish stories to be pushing the price to the upside. And then people are going to be wondering, Tim, why would we reject at this level and not keep moving to the upside? Well, there's going to be something. There's going to be some sort of story that sparks it, that gets the price to drop back to the downside. And the question becomes after that, does it stop at 25.2 again? Does it go lower? You guys know that when you're looking at the Bitcoin CME gaps, we have a gap all the way down to $19,940. I think it's going to be an interesting one to watch to see, can we go down that far and fill that gap. Let's go back over to the chart. I told you guys we'd take a look at the 1-hour chart because we do want to see, are we starting to see a little bit of a rally coming in here? And you guys can see absolutely on the 1-hour chart, we got the bullish divergence. We got the green reversal. We have the green histograms from the MVP oscillator telling us that that was a good spot to go ahead and buy. And yes, we're not rallying just yet. We're moving sideways, but you can see the oscillators are starting to try to make a move to the upside. There's definitely a lot there saying it wants to go wants to go up. You also can see here, guys, just like we're talking about, this is very common. You're going to hear me talk about this a lot. It's one of the things that I love to watch for in technical analysis, but former resistance levels being turned into support or vice versa. It happens all the time. Look at where this wick comes down. If I were to extend this line over, this is the top. After the fall down on the 17th, down to 25.2, we bounced back up to 27,000. That started a little resistance box. Look at after how we broke through. We came back down, retested this exact level of support. That's one of the strong reasons why I think it's a repeat offense where we're doing the exact same thing. We're coming back up either to this wick, 28,480, or this wick, 28,656, to retest that support level as resistance. And it would make a lot of sense in that timeline to correspond to the rising level of support as well, turning it into resistance. Guys, that's the Bitcoin technical analysis for you guys today. But let's take a look at some other things. I did get a request yesterday to take a closer look at what's happening with XRP. We'll pull up some other indicators here as well. But XRP kind of just continuing to trade sideways after that big dump. You guys know for a long time, whether you've been watching this channel or not, a lot of people had heard my prediction of 55 cents for XRP to come back down. Well, that one got obliterated. Turns out instead of using it as support, we just cut back through it like cheese, and now we're using it as resistance. So continue to keep your eyes on 55 cents, guys, until we get a massive bullish narrative coming in the space, which I don't believe it's coming, guys. It is coming, but it's just not coming necessarily soon. I'm actually looking at more manipulation to come into the space. If you guys can see a 55-cent XRP either to take some profit or maybe even to look for a short position, I would watch that again. Don't be surprised when I'm talking about Bitcoin going a little bit higher up to 28.4, 28.6. Watch potentially if XRP price starts to approach this 55 cents, maybe a little higher up towards 57, but I'm not expecting too much greater than that. I would expect those to be levels that it gets rejected on and then moves back down to the downside. When you're looking at larger time frames and you're looking at this wick, I think what we're kind of discussing here is, well, what happens to Bitcoin? What happens is Bitcoin only come back down to 25.2, in which case I kind of think 48 cents, 46-cent range is maybe as low as it would get if Bitcoin holds 25.2. If Bitcoin loses 25.2 and heads down towards 19,700 or so is a level we discussed yesterday. What I'm anticipating, guys, is watch for levels on XRP between 41 cents and about 35 cents. You guys just see these are former support levels back in March and May of this year. Those are going to be the interesting levels to watch for XRP price. But let's take a look at what the oscillators are saying. You do see on the daily chart, we're getting more bullish reversals. Nothing necessarily, we did get technically some green histograms on the MVP oscillator matching the oversold, but it's not a lot of them. That's not, to me, that's not the most overwhelming case of saying you should buy. Let's go down to the 4-hour chart, take a look at what it is saying. Kind of similar to Bitcoin. We did get a reversal coming in over here, but you're seeing as price kind of rounds off, the oscillators look like they're hitting support levels around mid zones that we could see a bounce right there. Let's go down to the hourly chart, see how the hourly chart is responding with all of this information. Got to let these oscillators load for us just a second. There we go. Same thing. Green reversal, bullish divergence popping up on the charts. You see the oscillators are moving to the upside. So again, similar to Bitcoin, I think we're going to see a little bit of a rally. Would not be surprised to see a rally come in here over the next couple of days. Let's take a look at some other indicators with XRP, though. Let's take a look at what we're seeing with our Market Oracle and our Dynamics Pro. You will see, well, let me take this one off. We'll take that off for just a second so we clean up the charts. Hourly chart just killing on these reversal calls, guys. This is Chart Prime. This is one of the things I love about Chart Prime, and not that other indicators are worthless and terrible, but a lot of other indicators I find are more confirming indicators, whereas with Chart Prime, I'm loving the way it's able to help you predict tops and bottoms. Well, one of the things they have, this reversal, when you go back and backtrack this, is it perfect? No, there's not a single thing in this world that's perfect, not a single indicator in the trading that is perfect, but good and spot on. It's a good way to describe it. Look at these perfect calls of reversal. They printed at those exact bottoms, so you would have been able to get in a very good entry point using those with confirmation of other technical indicators. We are using the hourly dynamic reactor kind of as a wrestling zone. It's not necessarily, we were using it as support, and right now you can see we're kind of going below it, going above it, so we're wrestling with it. The market hasn't really decided, the bears and bulls haven't decided on the hourly dynamic reactor which one is really in control. Again, my expectation is this more of a move to the upside. Let's see what's happening over here. Yeah, my expectation is just more of a move to the upside. And one of the reasons why is because we have not even touched the 4-hour dynamic reactor since all the way back here when it was moving in a bullish direction back in August on the 2nd. But we've been very far removed. Look at where that dynamic reactor on the 4-hour chart is sitting right there at 55 cents. Would not be surprised whatsoever. A lot of times, just like moving averages, this dynamic reactor is a very similar type of feature as a moving average. It's like a magnet that pulls price back to it. And it's been a very long time that we've been anywhere close to it. We've pulled very far away from it. And this could be that magnetic pull back. Watch for, again, not just that horizontal level of 55 cents, but also what does price look like as we approach the 4-hour dynamic reactor. Will be a great spot to either take profit, again, enter a short, whatever you're thinking. Make sure you don't trade based off of any one indicator. Use a lot of them for confluence to find the best spot. But that's what we are seeing kind of confirmed here on XRP. I do expect, just like Bitcoin, short pump and rejection around former support levels, former levels of significant. And there's going to be crazy news that does it as well. But the charts sometimes tell you a lot of information. You just got to use the news to make your triggers. Let's go off of my chart here for just a second. 921. That was all the TA that I had planned. I did kind of go through that quickly, T-Shroom. So let's even open it up for chat for just a second. We'll do one request here, one requested coin for TA. And then if we have time at the end of the show, I don't think we will. But if we do, I'll be able to do another coin at the end. Let's read some chat, though, while they're giving suggestions. Did you see chat that you wanted to read?
I did, Tim. I did.
Yeah,
King D said, do you guys still go live for TA time in the afternoon?
So I think, King D, what you're discussing is the tactical trades, which we put on pause for now. I don't know if it's coming back or not. But what we did instead of doing tactical trades is we now have a Saturday morning live show. So we go live Saturdays from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 12. So that means everyone on the West Coast. I know there's some people even watching right now. You guys are just up at the butt crack of dawn watching us, and we love it. Thank you so much. But on Saturdays, you get to sleep in a little bit. On Saturdays, you get to sleep in. We'll be here at 11, and that is instead of tactical trades. We kind of use that show to review the week, review the news, get some more, suggestions from you guys on TA, and also just have a good time hanging out as a community on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, David Williams says ADA twice. So David, you get one vote, but I hear you. Red Elephant wants DOT. Pokemon Games wants DOT. Mario, no, sorry, Mario. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and move on because we only have so much time before we got to get into community and other things. So I saw 2 votes for DOT. Not overwhelming lot of votes here, guys, but we're going to go ahead and do DOT. It's been a long time since I've done DOT. And some of you guys know, and I'm not going to get into this. I'm just going to do the TA. I don't think DOT's going anywhere. I do know there's some crazy things with the founder of DOT that, make it a little bit of a coin that's like, hey, how much do you want to support it? But what I'll notice here, I have not doing TA for a long time on DOT. You guys have noticed, in fact, I must have cleared my chart on this a little bit ago. But this flat level right here,
wow,
about $4.27, holding up strong. There's just one thing that concerns me about this chart, ladies and gentlemen, is that, yes, we're holding very, very strong on this flat level of support. However, when you have a flat level of support, meaning you're not setting higher or lower lows, and then you're doing this with the resistance levels, we're setting lower highs. This is a formation in trading in technical analysis, and it's called a descending triangle. Now, more often than not, descending triangles move to the downside. Why? Because, the bulls have agreed, hey, we're not going to give up this spot very easily, but every single push the bulls have made after retesting this has been lower and lower and lower. And more often than not, these end up breaking to the downside. Now, I'm not predicting this to happen, what I'm about to do. First of all, I think it would be impossible here on the linear chart. Let's take a look at the log chart. That'll give us maybe a little bit better way to be able to do this without putting it down into the negatives, because I don't think DOT's going to go away into oblivion. But when you're looking at indicators like this, you're looking at this descending triangle, you take the opening of the triangle and you move it over to a potential breakout spot, which is really easy for these because it's a flat bottom. So I could literally put this anywhere and it's giving me the exact same price. This would suggest we're going to go down to $2.29. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think potentially we end up losing this line, though, because as much as the bulls have been defending it every single time, they defended it back in December, they defended it back here in June, they defended it back here earlier on in August, I guess just about a week and some change ago. That doesn't mean they'll be able to hold it, because look, the bears are clearly winning this battle. They just haven't broken through this one wall. When you take this many hits at this wall, you're weakening it and weakening it and weakening it. And eventually, I think this is something that breaks. Now, I couldn't give you the exact level. I would think it'd be interesting to watch somewhere here around 380, down maybe as low as 350. Those were lows we had back in September of 2020. We're not that far away from those. So if a lot of bad things happen in DOT and we do break this level of strong support, those are the levels I'm looking at, 380 to 350. Let's take a look at what the oscillators are saying here. We're getting some good bullish metrics here on the daily chart from this bottom. I'm sure we're going to see the same thing on the 4-hour. Let's see what we have here. 4-hour even coming back down after rejecting right there with overbought, oversold, coming back down, getting lower. We're starting to see the MVP oscillator come in green. More than likely, just like Bitcoin and XRP, we're going to see a small pump here. But the question is it just going to get, topped out here around 490? Maybe make a push towards $5. I think it's a little much for right now. Let's take a look at multi-time frame support and resistance, see what it's saying. A lot of stuff in there. Yeah, we have an order block that goes even as high as 480, so it could be interesting. A little order block here at 496, so maybe we make a push up towards those. We have a strong level of 4-hour resistance at 515, but I think it's asking for a little much right now to get up there. More than likely, similar to the others, we're going to see a pump and then a drop back down, and we got a really big decision to make at 425. If that is lost, again, 380, 350, could be interesting spots to accumulate some more dots. Honestly, though, with how strong the support is, if you guys see another 426, I would also, your DCA strategy, investing strategy, whatever you're using, might even want to swoop some more up there, because again, I don't think DOT is going away. I don't think DOT's going to die. Again, some fishy stuff with the founder, fishy stuff with people there, but I think DOT's a solid project. I think people will make money on it. With that said, good suggestion, everybody. Hopefully that TA helps you guys a lot. Continue to do your own research. Continue to do your own technical analysis. Continue to study the fundamentals of the project. Stay up to date with news and relationships. But right now, in a season where there's not a lot of craziness happening with new relationships, the biggest thing to do is watch Bitcoin's price and then look for levels that kind of correspond to these other things, because everything follows Bitcoin more than likely in one way or another. So good suggestion there, guys. T-Shroom, are you ready to answer and give us the revelation of the fact of the day? Was I right? Was I wrong? Was I way off?
The fact of the day, we're going to pick up the pace here, guys. We're going to be going quick. Which top 30 crypto does not use a blockchain for its network? And I'm going to have to talk with the elves, because some of these are not even top 30 cryptos. But the answer is C, HBAR.
It's HBAR.
HBAR is a hash graph, and it's a distributed ledger technology that has been described as an alternative to blockchains. So very interesting stuff there. Let's go ahead and take a look here at your index opens. NASDAQ opening up red, S&P leading the market up 0.38, while the Dow Jones is only up 0.18. Let's go ahead and get into our stories this morning, guys. Uniswap lawsuit dismissed. DeFi crypto exchange not liable for scam tokens. So this is a pretty big deal. Some more precedent-setting case outcomes here. The lawsuit accused the decentralized exchange developers and investors of violating securities law. It alleged the exchange was an unregistered broker and dealer offering unregistered securities and allowed token issuers to scam investors. And the result of that is that the case has been thrown out, dismissed. So that's what you want to see if you're Uniswap, and generally if you're in the crypto community. You don't have much reason to take the other side on that. Well, Bloomberg analysts estimate 75% chance of a spot Bitcoin ETF here in 2023. That's pretty bullish, guys, in case you haven't been keeping score. That's pretty bullish. And we talked about this last night in our X Spaces. We really went hard, and we reached some interesting conclusions over there. You'll have to tune in Wednesday next week, 5:45 Eastern Standard Time, to get some good insights from that as well. The analysts now estimate a 75% probability of a spot Bitcoin ETF launching in 2023, with it being almost a done deal by the end of 2024. James Seyfert and I are upping our odds to 75% of it launching this year and 95% by the end of 2024. While we factored Grayscale's win into our previous 65 odds, the unanimity and decisiveness of ruling was beyond expectations. That's some interesting language there, Tim, and leaves the SEC with very, very little wiggle room. So that's kind of the to and fro there from some of the analysts over at Bloomberg. Tim, I do want to throw it over to you.
Yeah.
Last night, you said that you still don't see, despite it all, you still don't see the spot Bitcoin ETF dropping this year, getting approved this year. After
No,
hearing that from the Bloomberg analysts, does that change your mind at all?
well, I didn't say this year. I said you asked me last night
Yeah, okay.
if I thought that this would accelerate the launching of the ETFs.
Okay.
And I said no to that because remember the conversation that was had when let's go back a couple weeks ago, back when ARK Invest was supposed to have their answer about their ETF, and of course Gary did what we all knew he was going to do. He delayed it. He kicked it off. He said let's push this back. Well, it came out that the timeline, the expectation for approval was going to be 4 to 6 months. Well, 4 to 6 months is December to February of December of 2023 to February 2024. So even if it happens in December, and that's what these people are saying, like 75% saying we're going to get it approved before the end of the year, that still fits in the same timeline of what we have been waiting for, expecting. Now, you could make the argument that maybe I'm leaning more towards the 5 to 6 months, and now I'm starting to push it back up to 4. But I'm going to go ahead and hold off and say I'm not even making that prediction because I don't think in the real scheme of things it matters the fact that whether it's launched in 2023 or early 2024, it's going to have a big impact when it comes. I also think, there was an article I was reading this morning that was discussing how, yes, this lawsuit is a big deal. Yes, it takes a big chink out of the armor of what the SEC is capable of doing, but they still have legal recourse to continue to try to delay and come up with some form of excuse. And while right now hashtag fire Gary Gensler is trending, and a lot of us would love to see that happen, that would be phenomenal. That doesn't mean it will. And
Correct.
Gary Gensler has shown to be a type of person. He does not care what public opinion is about him. He doesn't care what people in government think about him. I believe he has people with hands in his pocket who are telling him what to do, who have a reason they want to delay this. Is it BlackRock? Is it someone else? I don't know. But they've been pretty much saying, hey, man, well, you're going to take the flack for this. You're going to take the fall, but do everything within your power while you have the job to continue to delay this so we can get done what we really want to do in the background, right? So as much as the news is coming out and now Bloomberg's making your reports and everything else, remember, you got to learn to take news articles at face value, and they don't necessarily always reflect truth. Sometimes they reflect and tell you what they think you want to hear or what they need you to hear so they can continue to do whatever they want. I'm not saying that December is not possible because, again, December was always in the plan of saying 4 to 6 months. But I think that people saying that this is now like an absolute or saying like, oh, this is it, this is a lot of different information, I don't think so. To me, I'm going to put this more in the camp of this is noise. That whether or not this had happened or not, I think we're still looking at December to February. And when it happens, this is the other thing. I think that spot ETFs are going to be a long-term, extremely bullish move for Bitcoin and others. However, I don't think people are prepared for the fact that when that spot ETF comes out, people are expecting like 30% gains on Bitcoin in one day and before long new all-time highs. There's going to be a small amount of delayed price action. There's going to be a small amount of figuring this out because people are also able to use spot ETFs to short Bitcoin. Watch for the bull market to be explosive, but not happen just because the day comes and we get a launch of a spot ETF. That's not going to be blast off for Bitcoin. It's going to be a little bit of a process of volatility before that actually happens.
Yes, I like it. I like it, Tim. All right, that was some comprehensive analysis. And let's go ahead. I've got a neutral story, and then I've got a sad story, potentially scary story, and then I've got some positive stories. So let's keep trucking here. Coinbase set to list PayPal stablecoin PYUSD. Remember that big headline from, I think it was last week, that PayPal released its stablecoin? Well, Coinbase is going ahead and it's going to list it on its exchange there. So pretty interesting development there. Kind of neutral, but bullish if you're big on the PayPal coin for some reason. Moving along here, 61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Inflation is still squeezing budgets. So don't forget, folks, just because you're living it up in the crypto world, making money hand over fist, doesn't mean that everyone else is. So be kind out there, and also know that it's a growing phenomenon there in the labor market. Here's the big one, guys. Here's the FUD. SEC secret Binance court filing has observers bracing for bad news. There's a lot of details here, guys, so strap in and hang on. On Monday, the Securities and Exchange Commission submitted a sealed motion which let it file sensitive or confidential information without revealing the contents publicly. Now, let's turn to somebody who actually has something to say about this, who we might care about. John Reed Stark. He's the former chief SEC Office of Internet Enforcement, and he's got some things to say. He's got an opinion, believe it or not. Somebody out there in the world has an opinion, and his is that this is only a guess, that the U.S. SEC secret and extraordinary court filing, which appears to be highly comprehensive, likely touches upon non-public Binance-related money laundering allegations or other potential criminal conduct. He goes on to say that, under any circumstances, that this SEC seal-seeking filing is unusual, odd, and uncommon cannot be overstated. In my almost 20 years in the SEC Enforcement Division, including 11 years as the chief of the SEC's Office of Internet Enforcement, our team worked on and led a broad range of SEC investigations, which involved parallel US DOJ investigations and lots of litigation, I can imagine. And I can't recall ever seeking to file a motion or any other court document under seal. Fail not your peril, Binance. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Now, I don't know what this last part means. Maybe somebody else does. But overall, Tim, goodness gracious, does this not have you shaking in your boots? Why are we not hearing about this in the crypto YouTube, crypto news world? And is this something that we should truly be worried about? What is hidden under the secret seal? Is it money laundering allegations, Tim?
You're talking about against Binance?
I am talking about against Binance.
Listen, here's the thing. How many things have they put to rest? And then they say, well, we have, it's just, I don't know. Like, I have to wait to see something. I have to see what's going to happen before I can make any type of thing. But every time there's an accusation against Binance, it goes away. There's no evidence presented. It just goes away. Yeah, it takes some time. Yes, people get worried. Yes, price action fluctuates up and down. Yes, people go to Binance and they try to get their money off because they're worried that that exchange is about to blow up. And Binance isn't freaking out, shutting down their exchange. They're just like, oh, here you go. You want your money back? Here you go. Because we have it. Because we've been doing everything the way we were supposed to do it the whole way. So you combine that with Binance has a very good track record of being found not guilty in this stuff. And then you go back and look at the SEC's track record, because this is the SEC continuing to go after them. I know the DOJ is now involved too, but the SEC, literally, why are we having this whole thing of hashtag fire Gary Gensler? Because Gary Gensler and the SEC are the worst at their job. And I'm not just talking about like because they're the SEC. I'm just saying, let's pretend we had an imaginary entity and their job was to sell cookies. And that's what he's being paid for. He's the CEO. He's being paid by the owner to sell these cookies. And in fact, nobody's buying these cookies. It's been years, 2 years, and nobody wants to buy the cookies. Should that guy who was hired to sell cookies keep his job? No, he should not. He should be fired. He's terrible at his job. Well, what is Gary Gensler's job? Gary Gensler's job is to regulate securities, to regulate threats that could be securities to continue to save the investor. One of the ways he does that is by issuing lawsuits, taking people to court to make them pay their fines, and then also fix whatever they were doing that was hurting the public investors, right? When was the last time this man won a lawsuit? His whole job is to regulate people according to the law and keep them from hurting people and win lawsuits. The man hasn't sold a cookie in 2 years. It's time for him to lose his job. But again, what's the story behind the scenes? Who's involved with being in his pockets? I don't know. But what I do know is until I see the damning evidence that Binance is doing whatever now they're being accused of, don't you have to give them the benefit of the doubt? Don't you have to give them the chance to say, like, listen, they've literally every other flood that's been thrown at their way, they've been able to negate and prove it's not true. I got to kind of stick with that direction.
Right. So you kind of have these two forces, right, that are very compelling going together, which is that Binance has had so many strong forces come against it that it has overcome over the
Yeah.
years,
Yeah.
right? Over the years of operation, whether it be the blockchain itself or the organization or CZ, they've been able to overcome again and again and again. But also, which is why I brought up the tweet from John Reed Stark, is that there's very seldom a sealed evidence that's brought forward with an ongoing DOJ case from the SEC. So there's these two kind of anomalistic, two forces going at against each other here that could erupt, and it's going to erupt into something. Whether it's bullish or whether it's bearish, we don't know. More than likely, it's going to be portrayed as bearish by the media. But whether or not it'll be a nothing burger, I'm not really sure. But it's definitely something to watch, guys. I'm not dismissing it, but I do kind of side with Tim, which is that this is definitely not the first time that FUD has come out against Binance.
Yeah.
But
It's become a weekly thing. T-shirt, we should just start a new segment,
Yeah.
Fresh Binance FUD, because it's a weekly thing.
Yes.
It's new, it's fresh, it's amazing. People love it. So maybe that's a new weekly. Maybe that's a Saturday thing. Maybe we'll have a Saturday segment that is, what did Binance get accused of this week?
I like it.
And it should be fun.
Yeah, we got to have a studio audience and have. All right. Well, I wanted to make sure that we covered this story. We may have covered it earlier in the week, but with the internet going out yesterday and everything, things have been crazy. So we wanted to cover this story here, which is that Elon Musk's X has licenses in multiple U.S. states to process payments, including crypto. So they've obtained the licenses they need. And then you also have this quote from April 2022, which is Elon saying, "I think a new social media company is needed that is based on blockchain and includes payments." Musk said in a tweet just days before the bombshell offer to buy Twitter. You guys remember that little headline? For $43 billion back in April 2022. So obviously the headline around this has a little bit more to do with Dogecoin and its potential ascent to the upside. Now, Tim and I, we've talked about this for a while, but now you are starting to see the momentum pick up. And this isn't our final story. We've got more to talk about. But you're starting to see the momentum pick up towards Dogecoin having a real strong buy thesis going into the fall. So Tim, does this just continue that momentum here?
You would have to assume, although there's nothing specifically saying this is Dogecoin that's going to happen. By the way, I would imagine Bitcoin is going to be a part of this. I would imagine Ethereum is going to be a part of this. And we've never heard him say it, but with its emergence, I would imagine XRP is going to be a part of this. Can't say that for certainty. But what we do know is if Elon gets this to go his way, exactly how he wants it, and he's getting the approval, I don't think Dogecoin is going to be left out. Whether Dogecoin is the main coin he wants to use or not, it's going to be one of them, and it's going to come with adoption. The question is going to be, is Dogecoin the one that he really pumps? And you cannot count that out. I could easily see Elon Musk come out here and maybe make it so you can use others, but he uses his influence and his personal ability to really push Dogecoin as the coin that everyone is spending and using and transacting on X. And again, the reason for that is he's hinted to this. I know many of you have heard this, but he's hinted at the irony and the reality that very well this coin Doge that was made as a joke, like how ironic and how cool would that be if it was started as a joke and became legitimately one of the most used currencies in the world? So when I hear that, I'm like, all right, if I was Elon, would I make Dogecoin the main one? No, that's because I'm not a Doge guy necessarily. I'm probably going to buy Doge because I think that there's a lot of catalyst that's going to make it go to the upside. But if Elon is the type of person, I could very much see him saying, I know people are going to give me backlash for this, but I don't care. I'm going to make Doge the foremost coin. And so it's one of those ones just like hedge your bets. Like, yeah, continue to invest in Bitcoin, continue to invest in XRP, continue to invest in Ethereum and Cardano, these others. But if you have not carved out a little special place in your portfolio for Dogecoin, continue to do your research. Continue to think for yourself. I think you should start considering it.
Yes. We got one and a half more stories. Crypto Trades asked, who is that little guy hanging out on top of T-Shroom? Yeah. That is the factoid elf. And he is very proud of his H-bar factoid today. And you can see his legs are very confidently swinging. Yeah. Brimming with confidence, the little factoid elf. But maybe he'll have a name here pretty soon. We'll see. couple more stories here, guys. Here's a save the date from the official Ripple Twitter account. It says we're hosting a community celebration on September 29th in New York City. And maybe you've heard of it. Stay tuned for more details to come later this week. So, I mean, if you live in New York, you live in the tri-state area, you live up in the New England, this might be worth checking out. Flights are also usually pretty cheap to New York if you live elsewhere. If you live in Nebraska or Louisiana. Tim, name another place that's not New York.
Canada.
Okay, I don't know if that counts.
Well, listen, Elo Brown lives in Canada, and
That's
I don't
true.
know if I see him this morning, but no, he's right there. Yeah, Elo Brown's here. Shout out to Canada. Not to your laws and your regulation and a lot of other things going on, but shout out to you for being Canadian. Love you guys.
There's some leaders who've done some really disrespectful things to minorities, which I don't appreciate. But we got one more story here, Tim, and maybe I think we're going to have plenty of time if you wanted to do some Cardano TA.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people asking for it, so we can definitely do some.
All right, our last story here. Russia and North Korea arms talks are actively advancing U.S. warms. This is a hot article right now on CNBC. It is from today, from this morning, 9 a.m., and that is not a good sign. It's almost as scary as the new Binance FUD, but there you go. Tim, what are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on this? Do you think North Korean troops are going to start siding with Russia and you're going to start seeing them fight in Ukraine?
I don't. When it comes to North Korea, and old Kim Jong, you don't know what that guy's going to do. You want to talk about more bluffing? Like, that man has bluffed a lot. Making videos about how much power they have and they're going to attack the United States. I don't know. I could see it happening, though. I mean, it honestly would probably be in their best interest. They clearly don't like the United States, don't like anything that's happening. So they can ally, like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. I don't even know if Russia and North Korea like each other, but could it be the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of situation with friendship? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let me dust off my North Korean knowledge. So I believe that their main legitimate export is labor for building monuments. They're really good at building monuments. Say what you will about the North Koreans, but they can build a political monument. They really can. Way better than I can. And so Russia...
Have you built a lot of monuments in your lifetime?
On Minecraft. And what ends up happening is that countries like Russia, who have a lot of demand for building political monuments, they have over the years purchased a lot from North Korea. So I do believe that there is a somewhat strong connection there between the North Koreans and the Russians from an economic standpoint. I'm sure there's been threats hurled both ways over the years as well. But when it comes down to brass taxes, Russia is definitely helping the North Korean bottom line.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think that they are kind of a natural ally during these times as well, when Russia kind of needs to take as many allies as they can get. But why don't we go ahead and look at the ADA charts and see what we can't pull out?
Well, and again, we have almost 150 people in here still watching. Thank you so much for being here. If you have not already, smash that like button. What are we sitting at? I have to. You guys are gonna see watching yourself. 102 likes. That's good. Over 100 is good. I think we could easily get another 50 before the end of the stream. But go ahead and smash the like button. If you're new here, also subscribe to the channel. If you guys are loving the content, loving the TA, loving the news, loving the breakdowns, subscribe to the channel. We do this every single morning. Taking a look at ADA again, kind of similar again to what we're seeing with other things. We talked about ADA the other day. I'm going to take a look. We'll look at some oscillators, kind of see what is going on here. But I'm watching, I think, a level that it's going to be really interesting. 30 cents has always on Cardano been kind of a very interesting spot when you kind of just hold. Let's put a horizontal line at 30 cents. You're going to see a lot of price action. You see support, resistance, support in here. You scroll back over here to a lot of wrestling happened back in January 2021 during that bull market, breaking above it, then dropping below it, using it for closing support here. 30 cents is just a very big psychological level for Cardano. If we get that same type of bullish push, again, we're at 26 cents right now. I could see Cardano popping up towards 30 cents, that area. That would be a gain right now of about 13%. So good little returns there on Cardano. But again, you guys know I still believe that if there's a big hit, and we're talking about Bitcoin going below 20,000, we're talking about the stock market taking a little bit of a hit as well, altcoins dropping. I think the 18 cents continues to be an interesting area to watch out for on Cardano. But let's take a look starting here on the 4-hour chart. Let's look at the oscillators. Let's look at the indicators. Let's see what is going on. We got the rejection, just like Bitcoin and XRP and everything else. Let's take that log off. Let's go back to linear. We got the bearish divergence, the overbought, the red reversal. We got a lot of the flipping of our MVP oscillator. RSI got overextended. We're coming back down to the downside. 4-hour chart not necessarily screaming that we have to rally, though. We did get a little bit of a buy, not major buy signal, but the MVP oscillator did start printing some green histograms down here at this level back. Would that be yesterday, I guess? But when we're taking a look, let's look at some multi-time frame support resistance. Got our order block up here at 27. We still have a strong support level. It goes actually a little bit below, down to 24 cents. And the wick only drops us down to 24.5. This one drops us down to 24.2. Could be an interesting one if we drop to the downside. Kind of matching with that 30-cent area. We have more order blocks up here, even up towards the higher ends of 30 cents. The strongest 4-hour support and resistance level sitting up here at 30.4 cents. So that one could be interesting. Let's go take a look at our market oracle. Have we gotten a flash here? Not on the 4-hour chart. Let's look at the hourly chart. Any flashes of reversals on the hourly chart? Give it just a second to load. We did. Okay, so kind of coming in, we saw that on the 4-hour chart back here during this little bottom. We saw it here on the hourly chart. MVP oscillator turning green. RSI is overextended. We get a reversal coming in. So again, similar to the others, guys, I think that you're getting a little bit of a pump here. I think we could outdo this 27.9 cent peak that we hit just a couple of days ago after the grayscale news happened. Again, I think it's a stretch, but I think it's capable. I think Cardano could have a little special run up here towards 29-30 cent region before a rejection, and then a dip down even harder. Would not be surprised, especially if it's just bullish narrative in the space. Not being surprised to see coins like Cardano that have just been overextended. When you go back out to the daily chart and you're looking at this, Cardano just really has not been able to breathe this bear market. Yeah, we had some nice pumps up here back in April, but after that, Cardano's just been taking a beating. It's overextended the downside, and yet the development team continues to be one of the best. Other than, the haters are going to say it's because it doesn't do anything, but they do so much. I think that Cardano is going to continue to be one of the more special ones in the space. I think it has not only some short-term availability for bigger pumps than other coins, long-term when you're zooming out to the bull market. I'm still looking over the bull market at Cardano, saying $6 to me is a given. I'm kind of looking more in the $8 to $10 region for Cardano. That a lot has to do with when you're looking at Cardano's dominance historically during the peaks of bull markets, when you're looking at where, if the expectation is that $11 trillion is coming into crypto, then you match it with where's Cardano's supply, where's, what percentage of the dominance should it have. I think there's a good case for, again, $8 to $10 for Cardano coming into the bull market, which makes this amazing because with us hovering down towards the bear market lows and potentially even an opportunity to set a new bear market low, there's a lot of money, guys, that can be made. In fact, let's just say that you can call this perfectly. Let's say your plan is I'm going to buy at 18 cents. I'm going to take profit at $8 on the lower end. Guys, that's going to give you a nice return on your Cardano investment of somewhere around a 41x, just under a 42x. Cardano is one of those coins that I very much think could be, I don't know if it's going to be the number one gainer in the market, but I think it's going to be up there amongst the top. That is your Cardano TA, both micro and macro. We can go back to BroCam here, T-Shroom, and check in with chat. We have a couple minutes left here. It was weird. We got through a lot of information a little faster today. Don't know what necessarily was too different. I don't think we had a community time, so we didn't really talk about any announcements coming up or anything. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Well, there was this video. Unfortunately, Eric Wallen, I think, shouted it out, but Mitch McConnell had another moment on television, and we started off the show with a quote from George Washington, and I don't think Mitch McConnell is definitely the enemy of a lot of people, not me, but you don't want to make fun of people, but there is this conversation going on about age limits, age restrictions for office. What do you think about that, Tim? Do you think that the governments should institute age restrictions to the upside, or is there maybe mental capacity restrictions?
First of all, I think the first thing you're going to find is you're going to run into some potential lawsuits from ageism claims. I also think that there are a lot of people that I know have taken very good care of themselves, even in older ages, that are still mentally very sharp. So if
Donald
you
Trump.
start, okay, no, that's not at all. Uh, so my point is that you do not want to eliminate a potential, like we want the right people, the people that can think critically and make these big decisions in the seat, whether they are, I understand the age minimum for a lot of these things, like president, you have to be like 30 something. Can't remember the
35.
exact number, 35. I understand some minimums necessarily because like now you're talking about the scientific information of when your brain is fully developed and when you're able to do those things. But when you get older, like I've met men and women in their 90s who are still sharp and critical thinkers. But if you make a law that says, oh, it's getting cut off at 65 or 70 or 75, now you're eliminating the best person for the job. I am a fan, T-Shroom, not of an age limit, but on an aptitude test, on a mental clarity test. How many I think isn't there a senator or a congressman, I can't remember which one, from Pennsylvania right now who's not that old, but he's had he's had accidents, things have happened. I feel very bad for the man. I wish him the best. I hope for full recovery, but he's not able to think and speak on a critical level to help be a leader of a country. I think that people like him should not be in office, not because I don't like him as a person, but because this is a serious job. Again, his job is to sell cookies. If there's a mental reason or a brain reason or anything that is stopping you from selling cookies, you should not have the job of head cookie salesman. And if your job is to make critical decisions and to speak in front of people and to make good points and have good debates, but you have a struggle speaking, you have a struggle thinking clearly, you should not have your job. So I would absolutely be in favor of yearly tests. And so, like, you have to pass this test to run for office. But even after you've won the office, you have to take a yearly test. And if at any point you're failing these tests and it's clear that your mental ability is going downhill, it is time for you as a public servant. Because let's remember, politicians are supposed to be public servants. You have served us well. Thank you so much. You're no longer fit to be in a position to serve well. Step down and let someone else take up the seat. Now, I think that's, I don't know what that looks like exactly. Does it go to the person who lost it? Does it go to your assistant? I don't know. There's obviously loopholes in there that people could take advantage of. But I do know, after watching Mitch McConnell over these last couple months, having two of these events, my heart goes out to him and his family. But I also am saying, hey, Mitch, it's time. It's time to step back. Let someone else do the job because you aren't capable. We need to sell these cookies, and you can't sell cookies right now. Go ahead and step back.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, and it's a tough one. GS is saying maybe term limits would help the situation. Yeah, definitely, definitely.
But even that, like a person will, it's a good idea, Gia. Just the problem is, I could be 90 years old and senile, or 40 years old and senile, but garner the money and support of a big backing, and then get the job. Take my two, terms or one term or whatever. I think you're still right there, not necessarily getting the full effect. I think testing again, because their job is to think critically. That is their job.
I disagree. I think that the way that the
hold on, which part do you disagree with? Start before you say which part.
I will explain. So
yeah,
I disagree, because what I think that the job is set up, the system is set up for, is that the actual politician themselves, and this isn't for all politicians, but the politician themselves are just a node of trust. Like, this is legally the name of the person, and this is the body of the person that was elected through the process. But all they are is just a pass-through entity for interest groups, and the people actually making the decisions are just the aides, right? In the folks like in their 30s, really the one, like the people who are capable of sitting and receiving 400 emails a day to all these different interest groups, and then balancing, okay, should we lose big potatoes for big tech? Okay, yeah, maybe big tech, right? They're the ones making those calculations and sending all those high frequency communications, and then the politician gets said, okay, here's the 1 or the 0 you need to get up on the stage and say, and then read from a teleprompter, and they do that. and that works out. So I don't think it has anything to do with the actual politicians' cognitive abilities, and that's why these really old, decrepit people are able to be in politics, because they're not the ones actually doing anything. They're just saying things.
Listen, I hear you. I hear you, Tisham. I just fully disagree. I didn't elect his team. You know, when you vote for someone, you don't vote for his team, you vote for him or her. And yes, hold on. They hire people to help give them advice, but in the same way a CEO of a company hires people to give him, you know, to help him operate different things, but he or she still takes complete ownership over the decisions. They run everything. They need to be able to think critically, and they were the ones elected. And so for that reason, I think that a mental test is absolutely still necessary. It's not just read a teleprompter. They have to be the CEO of their position in office to make sure what they're doing is correct.
Because I think we're at risk of agreeing with each other here. Because I 100% agree with you, actually. What I'm saying is that the system disagrees in the way that it's been set up.
Yeah. Nothing like a good closing of the show debate between the old T-Shroom and Tim. Guys, thank you so much for being here. We do have to wrap it up. It is 10 o'clock. Make sure all of our gold members, you guys are at the bro time today, later on at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you guys there. The rest of you, we'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a fantastic day. Thank you for being here. See you tomorrow.
Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.